If Mahomes didn't even play in this Super Bowl, he said, I'm retiring right now, I'd have him in my top 5 all time.
I just can't.
I got no problem with that.
Okay. Not
Here's the problem.
Not gonna
he has him second to Tom Brady.
That's
and then he has John Elway, Peyton Manning, and Dan Marino. But what he doesn't have, who he doesn't have, is possibly the greatest of all time, Joe Montana. The guy who Tom Brady eventually took the title from as the GOAT due to his longevity, not because he was better at his peak, but longevity, is Joe Montana.
How does Key, wait a second, because I was on First Take yesterday. I did not hear this conversation because I plugged in late.
Clearly, you wasn't paying attention.
Well, no, I don't pay attention until I'm on air.
Yeah.
Why
did I let him get away with that?
What is going on?
I didn't let him get away with it at all. As soon as he broke down the list and unveiled the list of the whole deal, and I looked, because in my mind, I had already calculated who the QBs were going to be. And, I just let him finish, and I shredded him to pieces. And I just kind of, it was exhausting listening to Dan, and I love Dan. And me and Dan work together every single week, multiple times. And his argument was he never saw Joe play. Joe would pass. He started going to statistics. And you know about statistics and me. I don't care about statistics. Doesn't mean anything. Everybody played at a different era and all of that sort of stuff. They throw the ball all over the lot right now. If I played in this era, I have 18,000 yards in 2 seasons because they throw the ball, no one gets touched. It's a totally different situation. And I tried to explain that to him. He put Marino on this. I'm like, dude, do you not understand that Joe Cool beat Marino, beat him down in the Super Bowl? He combined his Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes threw more in 2 games and this, that, and the other than he had in his 4 Super Bowls. And I'm like, dude, 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's 4 and freaking 0. So I tried to give him a different perspective because he claimed he never saw Joe play, but he saw Marino and Elway. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
All the winning
if you saw Joe, Dan, and John play, that's the same era.
Right.
Even if you didn't see Joe 2 years before you start watching, it's the same era. So I don't understand how you can have Elway, and he's Elway, I would have him on this list. I'm like, Elway went to so many Super Bowls. Like, stop. And it was like a whole deal. And in the end, I just gave up. And so you may remember this dude, Max. You remember Jeff Katz?
Yeah, of course.
So Katsy, I hadn't talked to Katsy forever.
Film guy who does sports talk radio too. Yeah.
And Katsy emailed me. Katsy, he emailed me late last night because I was doing this shoot or whatever here, and he just blankly said, "That's the most insane, you fill in the blank, thing I've ever heard in my life. That guy should be, you fill in the blank, immediately. Blankety, 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 blank. I can't believe this is outrageous. Makes 0 sense. Wow."
Hey, I want to get it. Hold on, I want to get it. Let's back up on Montana for 1 second, because it's easy to say, "Oh, stats and the game has changed and blah 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 blah," and go to stats, right? But if you do, you got to know how to look at stats. You look at what he was doing in his era, not just the raw numbers, but where it ranked, right? So. Perfect in the Super Bowl, 4-0. 13 TDs, no interceptions. But, guys, he led the league in completion percentage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times. 5 different seasons. He led the league in the West Coast offense and blah, blah. Okay, fine. He benefited from it. Yes, that's part just like Tom Brady benefited from Belichick and vice versa. And this went and Mahomes benefits from Andy Reid and vice versa. He led the league in touchdowns twice, in touchdown percentage twice. And then, the eyeball test. Come on. But here, more than that, you can look at, MVP finishes, right? He won 2 MVPs. He came in second. I'm looking at it right now once. He came in third one. If you look at the way he was perceived in his era, where he ranked, it was at the top, in addition to the fact that he might be the greatest postseason player in the history of football.
But this is wild to me. So the methodology is that since Dan didn't see it, Key, then, he can't recognize the greatness of it. So I've never seen Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but I know that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is like when Michael Jordan or LeBron James, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. I've never seen Oscar Robertson play the game, but I know Big O is one of the best point guards we've ever had in the history of the league.
Right.
Just from looking at it and watching tape on it, and that's all Dan Orlovsky does is watch tape.
And on top of that, the gold standard for the position was Joe Montana.
Yes.
Yeah. When you talk about it, before Tom Brady went to 10 and won 7, all we talked about was the greatest quarterback in the history of the game was Joe Cool.
Yeah.
We never said, oh, well, Dan Marino was the greatest quarterback in the history of the game.
What people did say about Marino
was he had a strong arm. I get all that.
Yes.
He went
and
early.
And maybe if he was in Montana's situation.
I get all of that.
But
like Barry Sanders,
but he wasn't.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
Exactly.
Right. And so in the end, Dan got it completely wrong. And on top of that, you got Patrick Mahomes too. Now, if you decided to take Patrick Mahomes and put him at 5 and bump Dan down because he didn't win the Super Bowl and Joe Montana beat him, and it certainly looks like on the trajectory side that Patrick Mahomes, by the time he ends his career, he'll be considered 2-3, somewhere in there. That's fine. But you ain't putting Mahomes 2 and Joe Montana 0.
No, you can't do that.
What are you doing?
That doesn't make any sense.
You can't do that. But
what are you doing?
Okay, wait, Key. I want to move on to something else here. You can't put him. You can't put Montana lower than 2. That's ridiculous. You could even argue he's 1, but longevity, Brady got him. But here's the thing.
Max,
you could argue Mahomes is 3.
Well, can I ask you a question? Was the argument about?
No, you can't argue Mahomes is 3 either.
Hold on, Key. It was the argument about where Patrick Mahomes' his projected finish will be.
No,
or
what
is
he's
that
done.
where
No,
he
no,
is
right. He
with
is
what he's done right now?
Mm-hmm.
He has him second best.
But that's not even the argument. The argument is he does not have Joe Montana on the list at all.
Right.
No, I get
Period.
that. I understand that.
But Key, I'm arguing something else too. He is. I think Mahomes is 3 if he doesn't play in this Super Bowl. He's 3 because the quality, like there are guys guys in every sport.
Tripping on John Elway.
He was Mahomes not only is better than John Elway. Not only is he better than John Elway, by the way, plainly that's plain to see he's better, but he's
Max,
also
I know
better
we got to
in his
get out
era
right
than
here.
John Elway was in his
carry
era.
this over, push it down, because you're going to give me a Tylenol.
Key, in his era, John Elway was not considered for 5 straight years clearly the best guy in the league.
Max, stop.
How many? I'm going to look it up right now.
Move on.
Elway won 1 MVP. Mahomes is about to win 2.
I can't.
Elway came in second once.
I don't want to do this.
4th once and 5th once in his whole career.
We gotta go to break.
The numbers are the eye test. Mahomes is better. Like Mahomes better than Elway.
Keep going, Max. Get him.
I just can't.
Mahomes is better than Sandy Koufax was better than Nolan Ryan. Even Nolan Ryan just 10 times
now
longer.
I'm gonna play. Now instead of playing the race card, I'm gonna play the athlete card. I caught balls from quarterbacks and I played.
You didn't catch from Mahomes.
You ain't never played in the professional level and ain't never caught.
I won. That's it. I won the argument.
Use the playing card.
That's the white flag.
I will play the athlete card. You never played before a day in your life.
You're never going to
tell me that John Elway is less than Patrick Mahomes.
Once Key goes there, once Key goes there, I win the argument. That means
I'm trying to get you to break.
Got nothing else. Tease time. Ready for this? Ready for the tease?
Yes, we are ready.
Is Nick Sirianni only along for the ride? If Mahomes didn't even play in this Super Bowl, he said, I'm retiring right now. I'd have him in my top 5 all time.
I just can't.
I got no problem with that.
Okay.
Here's the problem.
He
has him second to Tom Brady.
That's
and then he has John Elway, Peyton Manning, and Dan Marino. But what he doesn't have, who he doesn't have, is possibly the greatest of all time, Joe Montana. The guy who Tom Brady eventually took the title from as the GOAT due to his longevity, not because he was better at his peak, but longevity, is Joe Montana.
How does Key, wait a second, because I was on First Take yesterday. I did not hear this conversation because I plugged in late.
Clearly, you wasn't paying attention.
Well, no, I don't pay attention until I'm on air.
Yeah.
Why
did I let him get away with that?
What is going on?
I didn't let him get away with it at all. As soon as he broke down the list and unveiled the list of the whole deal, and I looked, because in my mind I had already calculated who the QBs were going to be, and I just let him finish, and I shredded him to pieces, and I just kind of. It was exhausting listening to Dan, and I love Dan. And me and Dan worked together, every single week, multiple times. And his argument was he never saw Joe play. Joe would pass. He started